Hello everyone and welcome back to Everything Tech, and today we're taking a look at a 4K Blu-ray player. You heard that correct, we have a 4K Blu-ray player in today, and it's by Sony, and for those of you who care, it's model number BDP-BX650. You can look for that on Amazon. I will also provide a link down in the description to Amazon where you can purchase this. It's a fairly inexpensive Blu-ray player for considering what it has to offer. And let's take a look at the front of the box, shall we? So here is the actual front of the box, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the box in half, show you the first half and then the bottom half, because there's tons of information on the front of the box. The top half, we have a picture of the Blu-ray player as well as Sony branding. Here's a model number for those of you who didn't catch it the first time, and a PlayStation Now sticker. You can play select PlayStation 3 games directly streamed to your Blu-ray player. Of course, you do need a DualShock 4 controller, a USB cable, and those are additional accessories you need for this. It does not come included in the box. So let's move on to the bottom part. The #1 Blu-ray player brand 4 years running. Ultimate streaming entertainment. Refer to important notice about network services on the side of the carton. 4K Ultra HD upscale. What this means is when you play a regular Blu-ray, it's going to upscale it to 4K, although you do need a 4K display for that. And it does support Blu-ray 3D and Blu-ray drives, or Blu-ray discs, the regular ones. Also plays DVDs. Not mentioned on the box here, it does play CDs as well. Quick start and loading, so you turn it on and it turns on right away and it starts playing your Blu-ray. Built-in wireless, which is a plus in my book, means that all you have to do is connect to your network and you're set. Screen mirroring, you do need an application for this, but basically what it does, it allows you to screencast whatever's on your phone to your Blu-ray player. And the triluminous color. Yes, that's how you say it, triluminous. I don't know if this applies to Sony Bravia television sets or it applies to any TV set you plug this into. We'll have to see. And then just here on the side we get some applications as little teasers. This does support 300 plus applications, but here we see the most popular, including Amazon Video, Netflix, Crackle, and YouTube. On the bottom of the box we get the model number once more, as well as a front view of the Blu-ray player and the PlayStation Now sticker, and some more information. 4K Ultra HD upscale, we went over this, and of course the HDMI is included with this Blu-ray player, as well as some pictures of apps. On the right side of the box we have several more logos, and of course if you look to the left of the box you just get Sony branding and the model number. I'm not going to show you the other side because that's where the barcodes are and I don't want to give those away. On the last side of the box we have Sony network services. Content and software of this product may be subject to separate terms and conditions and may be changed, interrupted, or discontinued at any time, and may require fees, registration, and credit card information. Moving along, TV side view. Enhance Blu-ray disc player experience with TV side view app for smartphone and tablet. A handy remote controller always at your side. Cross-content search. Easily find recommended and popular content across services. Depends on country. It is available on the App Store and the Google Play Store. Screen mirroring. Wi-Fi certified, Miracast compliant. Supersize your favorite smart devices content for all to enjoy through screen mirroring. Screen mirroring is compatible with Wi-Fi certified Miracast mobile devices, so keep that in mind. And of course, easy navigation remote. We're going to take a look at everything once we get in the box. So these are the ports that it has to offer. It offers one HDMI port for connecting to your TV, one USB port if you want to plug in a flash drive with your home movies on it. Coaxial output allows you to connect this to a stereo system, and a wired Ethernet connection for those of us who want to plug in to the internet, which is always the best option. The remote does have a Netflix one-click button. To open this box is fairly easy. All you have to do is just pop this tab right here and cut the piece of tape right there. Please be very careful when using knives. Make sure not to cut yourself. We are not responsible for anybody that is hurt. So just cut the tape. And all you have to do is just pop the box right open, and we're gonna get the contents out of the box. Inside of the box, we get power supply, remote control, HDMI cable, and a pair of Sony brand batteries. Deeper in the box, we get our Blu-ray player and our literature. I will be laying out everything on my table so we can see it all, and we'll go through each and every single thing separately in detail. Here is a brand new remote right out of its plastic, And I have my older remote here for comparison. So here is the older remote and here is the new remote. I'm trying to hold this in with one hand so we can see the size difference. And it's very, very small and lightweight, of course, because the batteries aren't in there. But you can see this is the old one and this is the new one. It's much smaller, much more nicer. And we're going to go over each button in just a second. Let me just pull out the batteries, which are right here. And Sony brand batteries. Again, I'm going to open these with a knife, so please be careful when opening batteries with a knife, because if you puncture the battery itself, you're not going to be in for a good time. You might puncture the batteries. And I'm just going to pull these out of the plastic, and we're going to set the batteries down for just a second. I'm going to set them aside, and we're going to pop that open. Hopefully that didn't break anything. And here we have the remote. Let me pop the batteries in there. Just like that. Here's a remote control close-up. I'll go through each and every single button. Here we have the eject, the input. This one turns on your TV and this one turns on the Blu-ray player. So if you want to connect this Blu-ray remote to your television, you can do so. Here we have yellow, blue, red, and green buttons. I've never really used those buttons before. I'm not sure what they're there for. Top menu sends you to the main menu of the Blu-ray or the movie you're watching. The pop-up menu, some movies actually feature a pop-up menu, so while you're watching, a menu pops up and you can select certain settings. Return, pretty self-explanatory. And options. Options will allow you to select certain options depending on which user interface you're using or which applications. For example, if you're using Netflix, you can select options and it'll give you a list of options. And of course the home button. The home button, what the home button does is send you directly to your home screen. And no, I did not skip the directional buttons. I saved these for last. These are the directional buttons and the center OK button. Here we have the favorite button. I'm sure you can select or in the settings set a application for your favorites. You select it. Netflix hotkey, previous, pause, next, or I think this is slow. I don't remember. I don't use these anymore. But here we have all our play, pause buttons and stuff. Subtitles, muting, display, audio, volume up and down. Sony Blu-ray. If you want to get this remote, here's a model number. You can always search for the model number and you can find it online and you can buy this remote if you don't want to buy the whole Blu-ray player. It is an infrared remote, so keep that in mind when setting up your Blu-ray drive. Here is the IR blaster. And that's it for the remote. Here is the HDMI cable. It's a good thing that they include the HDMI cable because there's certain people that all they want to do is get home, set up their Blu-ray player, and start watching movies. They don't want to have to deal with buying expensive HDMI cables and worrying if it's the right one or the wrong one, because you know that this one here is going to be the one that is compatible with your Blu-ray drive. And this is what the HDMI input looks like, in case you were wondering. That's what it looks like. This is the little plug, pretty standard size. Next we have our power supply. This does need a power supply in order to work. The thing I don't like right away about this Blu-ray player is that it needs a power supply on an external power supply. The Blu-ray player I have is just plug and go, but given the size of the Blu-ray player, I think that's what they had to do with this Blu-ray drive. Pretty self-explanatory. Here's the end in case you lose it. That's what it looks like. And this is the plug. Moving along to the literature. Here we have the operating instructions. You may want to take a look at the operating instructions before using the Blu-ray player so you know what it works with, what it doesn't work with, operating temperature, among other things. A product registration card, and your Sony limited warranty, as well as some advertisement, which I'm not really gonna pay too much attention to. Last but not least, we have the Blu-ray player in its plastic sleeve. We'll go ahead and set this aside, and this is what the Blu-ray player looks like. Nice texture and gloss. Of course, that's going to be a fingerprint magnet. On the front of the Blu-ray box, we see it says Sony branding right there. Moving along down, it says 4K Ultra HD Upscale, which upscales regular Blu-rays to 4K Ultra HD. Of course, you do need a television set for that. Blu-ray 3D. And built-in wireless. We do not have a display of any sorts on this device, but we do have an eject and a power button, as well as the Blu-ray logo right here, an infrared logo right here, and we have a 5-volt, 500 milliamp hour USB, so it's going to power your hard drive if you plug it in there. Here at the top of the Blu-ray player, we have Blu-ray 3D, DVD video, Super Audio CD, compact disc, Wi-Fi, Dolby True HD, DTS 2.0 Plus digital out, Grace Note, and Energy Star. Those are several logos up at the top, and down here it just says Blu-ray disc DVD player. So on the back of the Blu-ray player we have the 12 volt power, we have the Ethernet port, we have the HDMI out, and the coaxial in case you want to use that. And here's some information if you want to go ahead and read that. You can go ahead and pause that. The top of the Blu-ray player has this like texture on it. As you can see here, it's a really nice texture, but on the side here it's already getting fingerprints. As you can see, it's a fingerprint magnet, but it's very glossy, but it really adds to the look of the device. Let's set this thing up. All we have to do right now is just plug in our HDMI cable, which is right here. Make sure you plug it in with the flat top facing upwards, and it goes in just like that. Make sure you push it in there real nice until you hear a click. And now I'm going to get the power supply, which is flying around everywhere, and that one just goes into there, pretty straightforward. Push real hard till you hear a click, and let's go set this puppy up. I just plugged in the Blu-ray player to my television set and to the mains. All we have to do now is select the language, which is English. If you want to select it as French, Spanish, or Portuguese, you can go ahead and do so, but the language I'm mostly used to is English. Startup time could be shortened by selecting on, although at a cost. If you read the yellow letters, it says when on is selected, power consumption will increase when the unit is off. So basically it goes to sleep, and it still uses power even though you're not using it. So I like to keep it on off. I don't mind sitting here waiting a couple of seconds for the device to boot up, but if that's your thing, you can go ahead and turn it on. So we're going to click off, and it starts looking for networks around my area. From this list, we're going to select our Wi-Fi network. I can select my Wi-Fi network using Wi-Fi protected setup, or I can select it from the list. Keep in mind that you have to have at least a 2.4 gigahertz broadcasting signal in order to receive internet. If you don't, and all you have is a 5 gigahertz, or you don't see your network here, try maybe connecting this directly through Ethernet port. It might help. But I can see my network, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. I just put in my password, so we're going to hit enter and move on to the next step, which is tries to connect to the Wi-Fi network, and it gets an IP address and several other things that it does in the background. Upon connecting to the internet, it gives you the end user license agreement. You may want to read this just so you know you're not giving away your rights to Sony. And we're going to click agree and next. And it starts authenticating the device, connecting to the internet, getting all the stuff it needs. And you may want to consider updating the Blu-ray drive or the Blu-ray player upon startup. And as you can see here, we have featured apps like Netflix, Vudu, Hulu, MLB TV, Pandora, and the PlayStation Store, which is really cool that they have the PlayStation Store on a Blu-ray drive or a Blu-ray player. Down here, no disc. Of course, there's no Blu-ray disc in there, but if you do put your Blu-ray disc in there, you can select it from here. Or if you plug in a Blu-ray, not a Blu-ray, USB drive, you should see it down here and screen mirroring. To update the Blu-ray player, you just want to go to the top here, and it's like a little toolbox that says Setup. Once in Setup, we go to the first option. It says Software Update, although there's different settings down here. But we're going to go ahead and update. So we're going to update via Internet, and because it does have built-in Wi-Fi, we don't need to plug it in. As you saw there, the Blu-ray player is already up to date, which is good. You may want to consider updating your Blu-ray player because new Blu-ray discs come out, and they also advise that you update. I would love to play a Blu-ray on here and show you what it looks like, but due to copyright reasons, I won't be doing that. Instead, I think that is all for today we're going to cover. Thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next video.